I do want to get this little side note in because I think it's very rare, especially these days, to face a quarterback for a fourth time. And that's what Miami will do this Saturday in facing Kenny Pickett, who, of course,
maybe, because there have been rumblings.
Yeah.
And I may have heard from a source that there's a growing likelihood that Kenny Pickett is not going to play this week. And I think that that's why the line has moved the way that it has from 10 or 10 and a half to 14.
That's a huge move.
And I got off from the secret day job and I was like, okay, like I haven't DM'd with this person in quite a while, but let's see what person X has to say. And that was the information. I've been trying to chase it down and see if I can hear it from somebody else. But this is, quote unquote, someone who would know and someone who I implicitly trust in this industry based upon the job that they do. So hearing that Kenny Pickett may not play could be a major impact. And it's, like I said, it's looking more and more likely according to what I've heard. But if not, then that would be the fourth time that we've faced off against Kenny Pickett. His first career start was 2017 against 10-0 Miami, and the precocious freshman is not scared of the moment because he's 18 and whatever, and I'm just going to go out there and run around and throw the ball and end up, slaying the undefeated Hurricanes and having a party in Pittsburgh and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to play against him for, that fourth year and everything. And we know pretty strongly what he is. He's going to run around a little bit. He's going to make some plays with his legs, and he's going to distribute the ball timely fashion to some fast receivers that they have, on that roster, and try to, take advantage of some situations. He could put the ball in harm's way, just because that's a thing that he does from time to time, even though he has beaten Miami a couple of times in his career. And obviously, like I said, had Pittsburgh in a position to win last year. Or it was only the one time, that's right. But still, it feels like more. That 2017 loss feels like it was 2 or 3. But yeah, so I mean, it would be interesting to see us go against him for a fourth year. And technically, since this season does not count towards eligibility, he could come back for a fifth time against Miami. But he would not be 0-5 against Miami were he to come back, unlike Chris Ricks from Florida State, who is my still favorite Florida State quarterback ever. Go Noles.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett hit the field against Virginia Tech the week before and almost pulled out a game, and then bam, makes his first career start again at Heinz Field. 4-7 Pitt, 10-0 Miami. All right, the Canes blog. Appreciate the super chat contribution. And we will get this question to Cam. Do you think the penalty issue can be cleaned up quickly, or is that part of the culture that's still going to take some time to fix?
It damn well better be. I mean, because you have all these pre-snap penalties and things. I leave the stats pulled up from the previous game until I connect with Mark and do this. So if I go to away and I go to penalties, I mean, yeah, you have 8 offensive penalties, 1 false start, 2 false start, 3 offsides on offense, false start, illegal procedure, and then a holding, and then illegal formation. Oh, that's cool. And then on defense, also offsides, defensive holding, personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct, personal foul. Like, no, that's no. So you have pre-snap things, and then you just have discipline things, man. Like unsportsmanlike conduct, bro. Like really, like personal foul. What are you doing? And I know a couple of those are the targetings and everything. I don't agree with. I mean, the Amari Carter targeting. Okay, yeah, it's your bi-weekly Amari Carter destroys somebody and he goes to the showers moment. The other targeting on Trevor Lawrence, it's a bullshit call, plain and simple. And I'm not scared or reticent about my language either. It was a straight bullshit call. That's a reputation call. That's an NFL superstar quarterback call. That was not targeting. Because again, we've seen multiple times, and there's screenshots of them, of De'Aaron King in the pocket being hit in similar ways. Not De'Aaron King down the field as a runner, but then again, if you're talking about leading with the helmet and crown and things like that, it doesn't matter if you're a runner or if you're a quarterback. That's still targeting. No, but no, there better be some guys. I don't know if there's a hill in Miami. I don't know if they got to take them out to Tropical Park. I don't know if they're going to go to the sand pit or to the beach and really, really shred them or whatever. But no, you cannot have these penalties, period. And against UAB, you didn't. Against Florida State or against Louisville, they crept up. Against Florida State, they were pretty darn bad. And then they needed to get under control. And then against Clemson, the penalty issues were worse than they were against Florida State. I said, in the good, the bad, the ugly, after Florida State, I said, we're not going to beat a good team with these kind of penalties. If we have those kind of penalties, or that amount of penalties, 15 for 135 or whatever it was, if we have those same amount of penalties this week against Pittsburgh, we're not going to win, period. So something has to be done. And, I mean, if it's accountability, if it's having guys see the bench, if it's whatever post-practice conditioning, whatever you want to call it, something got to get done because it's unsustainable, and if you think back to the that 1991 Cotton Bowl against Texas, Miami had the kind of team and said, look, you could penalize us 500 yards. I mean, no difference. We can overcome all of that. Because why? Because we're dancing, we're celebrating, we're doing backflips, high fives, all kinds of stuff. We're doing six shooters out of the end zone because hey, it's not my fault my hands were there. It wasn't my fault he was playing press man, couldn't cover me. It wasn't my fault they left the doors open to the tunnel. You can do all those kind of things because that was that kind of team. This ain't that kind of team. We don't have that kind of talent to overcome those kind of things. So something has to get done, period. Or we're going to lose more games. Point of fact. Date it, clip that, whatever you want to do. Save that right there. If we don't address these issues, we're losing more games, plural, this year, period.
I'm old enough to have remembered watching that and remembering the comments from the commentators, which I felt as I'll date myself, 22-year-old at the time, were amusing. And I had no rooting interest in the game. I'm just watching the Cotton Bowl that Miami, could just put it in everybody's face and didn't care. And it was to the extreme that the announcers at CBS actually were just berating them throughout the game about how lack of respect they had for the game and the opponent and so forth. And then we were reminded of that during the documentary.
Exactly. I mean, I don't remember watching that at 9 going on 10. I want to say, or anything, but we all know that we've seen it from the U. Like, oh, they're terrible, they, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But we were them dudes. It didn't matter. 15, all right. What's that line for the Mighty Ducks? 2 minutes, well, worth it. Hey, penalize me. Do what you got to do. I don't care because we're gonna win. I'm bigger than them, I'm faster than them, I'm stronger than them. We already knocked out their starting wide receiver, running back on the opening kickoff. What's his name? Number 23, Robert, whatever, coming down saying, yo, I'm going to knock somebody out on the first play. And did. You know what I mean? Look, we were those guys. It didn't matter what you called. Penalties? Penalties going to stop us? Miami? Nah. Not never. But that was a different kind of team. So for this team, which doesn't have that cachet, they're not last year's LSU. We're not 2001 Miami. This year's Clemson or all these other legendary teams that have come through recently. We're not those guys. So we cannot overcome those things. It's a thing where in the past, could Miami have overcome that offsides and dropped interception on the first drive by Quincy Roche and gotten the stop and got the ball, another 3 plays and okay, we're going to punt the ball. They got another 20 yards, but they didn't get 7 points. Could that have been a thing? Yes. I don't necessarily think that Miami has that in them, to overcome all of these penalties time and time again. So, there has to be something done about the penalties because that kind of the penalties that we've seen over the last 3 games, plain and simple, are unsustainable for success. And everybody that you play is not going to be Louisville with one of the most porous defenses in America who you hit for, 47 this year and 52 last year. You're not going to see them many times. Or 52 last year, 40-something this year. You're not going to see a Florida State team. And Florida State that's looking a little bit rejuvenated since playing Miami. So that might have been rock bottom that we saw in that game. Like I said, that was an outlier this year. They were terrible. But you're not going to see terrible teams like that anymore. So to keep winning, We have to play winning football, and all these penalties, especially these targeting and things like that. I mean, look, shout out to Brian Balaam, my former student, getting clock in the first half at Clemson, yo. I mean, he's out there and doing his thing. Did he blow the one coverage that should have been a touchdown and Frank Latson just dropped the ball? Yeah, and you saw it. He was like, okay, hey, I'm going here. Wait, and everybody, there were 10 guys running the right defense. And we're playing cover 2, and he's supposed to have the deep half, and he's playing like we're playing cover 4 or something. I don't even know. And then he's, oh, shoot. But why is he out there? Because Amari Carter got a targeting, and he's gone. And Gervin Hall had a targeting against Florida State, so he's sitting out the first half. So now of those 3 NFL players we have at safety, including Bubba Bolden, only one of them is out there. And now we got to put a true freshman out there. And look, good for him to get the experience, but man, the moment was a little big for him. You know what I mean? And there are 2 penalties right there that had an adverse effect on the product on the field, because you take 2 of your better defenders and then they're hitting the showers or they're unable to play through the first half of the game, to the point where we're having to put a true freshman in there at a position. And obviously they schemed it up where, hey, we're going to go and we're going to motion this and we're going to hope they get to a too high look. And if he doesn't get the check, which he didn't, should have been 6, should have been queuing up the bang. We saw Dabble pretty upset at Frank Latson for dropping that ball. Those are direct results of penalties. We don't have that kind of team to overcome those things. Against Louisville, could we and did we? Yes. Against a terrible Florida State, one of the worst Florida State teams that we've seen, and that performance from them was one of the worst we've ever seen. Can we overcome that? Yes. Against even marginal teams, average teams on the other side going forward, we're not going to be able to make, to bridge that gap. So we have to do better, period.